Welcome to the deep dive. I'm really glad you're here with us today because our mission is to explore just this totally staggering trajectory of Dr. Cynthia Simmons.
Yeah, staggering is definitely the right word for it.
Right. Because, well, imagine looking at a medical chart and it unequivocally states you have just 6 months to live.
Just a completely devastating thing to hear.
Exactly. Now imagine taking the exact same visceral, like do-or-die survival instinct required to face that diagnosis and somehow using it to earn an official certification from OpenAI.
Which is just a massive pivot.
Is mastering the most disruptive technology of our generation. We're unpacking a profound journey of resilience today, and it bridges this gap I honestly never even considered.
Oh, for sure. The space between terminal biological failure and the absolute cutting edge of generative AI.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this, because we're looking at a life-altering medical crisis that doesn't just end in survival. It becomes the literal launch pad for mastering machine logic.
It really is a narrative that forces us to completely rethink how humans interact with complex systems.
Right.
And just to set the stage for you listening, it's really crucial to understand that this source material we're examining today, it isn't just an inspiring biography.
No, definitely not.
It operates as a literal masterclass in adaptation. We are looking at a framework for surviving massive biological trauma, which then somehow seamlessly translates into a framework for navigating massive seismic technological shifts.
That's like the same blueprint, right?
Exactly. The psychological principles Dr. Simmons developed to keep her own cells functioning are the exact same principles she applied to engineer outputs from a large language model.
I mean, I want to start right where that methodology was forged, which is inside this incredibly intense, harrowing medical battle.
Yeah, let's go there.
Because the source explicitly notes that she didn't just face one isolated cancer. She battled 4 distinct cancers.
It's hard to even wrap your head around.
It really is. And at one critical juncture, the medical consensus basically hit a brick wall. Her doctors gave her a prognosis of just 6 months to live.
Yeah.
And sitting with the sheer psychological weight of a 6-month timeline, I mean, that usually triggers a complete systemic collapse.
Oh, absolutely.
It creates an environment where contemplating any kind of future, let alone, future in tech innovation, is completely erased.
Well, a prognosis like that is the ultimate terminal constraint. It's a medical professional looking at the empirical data, observing your biological hardware, and definitively stating that the system is shutting down.
And people just accept it.
For the vast majority of patients, that external data point immediately becomes their internal reality. The fear paralyzes the mind, and then the body just follows suit.
But her response is totally different.
It's the defining fulcrum of the entire source text. She looks at her doctor, absorbs the data, and utterly refuses to adopt it as her internal operating system.
Yeah, that quote.
Right. She tells the doctor, and this quote is just striking, she says, "You be the doctor and let God be the timekeeper."
I mean, wow. Just the power in that statement.
It's incredible. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what she is doing in that clinical moment is rejecting the narrative that the external data dictates her internal outcome.
She's refusing the input.
Precisely.
Yeah.
She takes raw, unfiltered survival instinct and systemizes it into a repeatable framework. She turns her survival into a comprehensive philosophy.
And a brand, right. The never give up mentality.
NGUM.
Yeah.
Exactly. She leverages this framework to become an author, a speaker, and a podcaster, using her brand to help others short-circuit their own terminal narratives.
Yeah, it's like here's an analogy. It's like she took back the admin privileges of her own life.
Oh, I like that. Admin privileges.
Right. Like grabbing the steering wheel away from the doctors.
Yeah.
She isn't just ignoring the medical reality. She's actively curating the environment where that reality exists.
Yeah, entirely.
Because the source points out she operates on this really specific foundational belief, which is when the brain is talking, the body is listening.
That's the core of it all.
She understood biology responds to intention. If you fill your brain with panic, limitation, your body receives the instruction to just shut down.
It takes it as a command.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she meticulously curated her internal inputs. She basically refused to feed her biological system a prompt that ended in failure.
The mechanism there is fascinating when you really break it down. It is all about mastering the architecture of internal communication.
Right.
She recognized that her body was this complex system requiring clear, intentional, and just unshakable instruction.
To survive 4 cancers, yeah, you have.
You have to master the art of providing highly specific constraints and emotional context to your own cellular structure. She had to dictate the reality she wanted her body to adopt.
Instead of passively accepting the default programming from the doctors.
Exactly. And that relentless, high-stakes communication protocol became the exact groundwork for her eventual pivot into the tech sector.
But see, surviving a biological threat relies on intense internal willpower, right? Like
Yeah.
emotional fortitude.
Yeah.
How do you take a purely internal emotional triumph and apply it to lines of cold, hard code in a generative AI model?
That is the big question.
Because this brings us to 2022, the year ChatGPT fundamentally disrupted everything. And while a lot of people just stared at that blinking cursor, feeling intimidated or, paralyzed by how open-ended it
You have
is,
blank page anxiety.
right, Dr. Simmons saw an open door. She looked at this disruptive tech and saw a canvas for boundless creativity. And, well, here's where it gets really interesting because I have to challenge the premise slightly.
Hey, lay it on me.
Telling your body to heal is almost a spiritual practice. It's deeply rooted in biology and emotion. But an LLM like ChatGPT, it's a mathematical prediction engine.
It just calculates token probabilities.
Exactly. It doesn't have cells to listen or emotions to tap into.
Yeah.
So how does her biological mantra actually map onto a large language model without just being like a cute motivational metaphor?
That is the crucial friction point, and resolving that friction is what makes her an actual innovator.
Right, because it's not just a metaphor.
No, the conceptual leap she makes is profoundly structural. Remember that an LLM is essentially a brilliant amnesiac savant.
Amnesiac savant, yeah.
It possesses the entirety of human knowledge, but it has zero memory, zero context, and zero intention until you, the user, define its reality in the prompt box.
The context window.
Exactly. The space where you type is called the context window. If you fill an AI's context window with vague, conflicting, or fearful instructions, the mathematical output is chaos, or just generic paralysis.
So it actually directly mirrors the biological context window.
Completely.
If you feed your body's context window with a 6-month expiration date, the system acts on that data.
Precisely the mechanism. Dr. Simmons had spent years meticulously curating her own biological context window to survive. Wow.
She understood that a complex system, whether it is an immune system or a neural network, it requires highly specific constraints, a defined persona, and a clear objective to function at an elite level.
That makes so much sense.
Her original mantra was, when the brain is talking, the body is listening. And she evolved that biological truth for the digital age, realizing when the brain is talking, AI is listening too.
She removed the intimidation factor completely.
She didn't approach the AI as a magical oracle or like an autonomous threat. She treated it as a system that desperately needed a competent architect to give it boundaries and purpose.
So if you've ever stared at a blank ChatGPT interface and wondered why your outputs read like a bland corporate memo, you're likely missing the vital ingredients she discovered.
You're giving the machine a zero-shot generic command.
Right, like write a blog post.
Yeah, that gives you nothing.
But Dr. Simmons, because her life literally depended on giving her body precise, unrelenting directives, she applied that same rigor to her syntax with the machine.
She engineered the intent. She didn't just ask the AI questions. She constructed realities for it to inhabit. She gave it the digital equivalent of the never give up mentality.
She realized that the machine has the raw computational capability, but the human must provide the soul, the direction, the constraints.
Over the next 3 years, she really immersed herself in the architecture of prompting.
She moved way beyond casual interactions. She began to deeply understand how adjusting the parameters, the tone and the constraints of a prompt could drastically alter the mathematical weights of the AI's response.
She mastered the conversation. And the scale of that mastery is what completely shatters the standard archetype of tech innovation.
It really does.
Because we are conditioned to believe that someone whose work reaches mass adoption in the AI space must fit a very specific mold, right?
A young engineer with a computer science degree.
Exactly. From some elite university, fluent in Python and machine learning algorithms. But Dr. Simmons proves that the future of this technology isn't just about writing the underlying code.
No, it's about human-AI interaction.
It is about what she calls the power of the prompt. I mean, it's like directing an orchestra. The AI has all the instruments, it has all the sound, but you have to write the sheet music, and set the tempo.
That's a great way to look at it.
And over those 3 years, the prompts she engineered were utilized by more than 100,000 people.
Reaching 100,000 users isn't just some vanity metric. It is a testament to the utility and precision of her work.
Absolutely.
When you engineer prompts at that level, you are essentially creating micro software applications using natural language.
Yeah, you're building tools.
Tools that help other people bypass that blank page anxiety and immediately extract high-value outputs from the model. Her prompts provided the scaffolding that allowed thousands of other users to effectively communicate their own needs to the machine.
It's effectively democratizing access to the technology. That level of impact bridges the gap between theory and undeniable reality.
Yes.
And she didn't just build an audience. She captured the attention of the actual architects who built the model itself.
This is the crazy part.
Right. According to the source material, her mastery of the interface earned her a certificate of recognition directly from ChatGPT, powered by OpenAI.
Unbelievable.
They officially acknowledged her expertise, designating her as an AI prompt consultant and an AI prompt engineer.
The validation from OpenAI is a critical detail here. It confirms that her methodology, mapping human survival instincts and clear, intentional communication onto machine logic, it's structurally sound.
It works.
The creators of the technology recognized that she wasn't just casually using their tool. She had fundamentally grasped its underlying mechanism. She understood how to guide the mathematical weights of the model using purely human intention.
Going from a terminal diagnosis where doctors tell you your biological machine is failing to holding an official certification from the creators of the most advanced digital machine on the planet.
It requires a mental flexibility that is hard to even quantify.
It really is. But she isn't hoarding this knowledge. She's actively leveraging this power of the prompt to execute real-world projects, right? Like creating new, tangible realities.
Yes, expanding her creative footprint in ways that would have been physically or logistically impossible just a few years ago.
Tell us about how she's doing that.
Well, she is a prime example of using AI as an exoskeleton for human creativity. The source notes the launch of NGUM Records and Music.
Oh, wow. Records and music.
By utilizing AI tools, she is able to merge her profound human experiences, her survival, her philosophy, her voice, with advanced generative audio capabilities.
So she doesn't need to spend a decade learning audio engineering or mastering multiple instruments.
Exactly. She can use her expertise in prompt engineering to articulate her musical vision to the AI, basically forcing the machine to generate the exact emotional resonance she demands.
She's proving that deeply human art and artificial intelligence are not mutually exclusive.
Not at all.
It is just a brilliant democratization of expression. She survived the unimaginable, she learned the syntax of the machines, and now she is literally producing music with it.
Yeah.
All under the umbrella of the never give up mentality.
Yeah, the NGUM brand is stronger than ever.
But what I find most compelling is her dedication to bringing the broader public along with her. She is actively building a bridge for the people who are currently standing where she used to stand.
Facing the unknown.
Right, facing something massive, unknown, and potentially terrifying. She's translating her process into a new book, correct?
Yes, she is currently writing a project titled When the Brain is Talking, AI is Listening. NGUM meets AI.
Love that title.
It's perfect. The strategic value of this book lies in its target demographic. It is not a technical manual for Silicon Valley developers.
Right.
It is specifically engineered to demystify artificial intelligence for everyday individuals who feel alienated by the rapid pace of technological change.
It's huge.
The book serves to explain the mechanics of what AI actually is, but perhaps more importantly, it clearly delineates what AI is not.
Which is desperately needed context right now.
Yeah.
Because if your only exposure to AI is through sci-fi movies or alarmist headlines, your context window is basically filled with existential dread.
Exactly.
You assume the machine is autonomous and malicious.
Right, and this raises an important question regarding our collective psychological approach to innovation. How frequently does our fear of the unknown become a self-imposed 6-month prognosis on our own potential?
Oof. Wow.
Many people look at AI and internally declare, I can't learn this, it will replace me, the system is rigged against me.
They write themselves out of the future.
They accept a terminal narrative regarding their own relevance in the modern workforce. But Dr. Simmons is taking the NGUM framework, the exact mental architecture she used to reject her medical death sentence, and offering it to the public as an antidote to technological anxiety.
So she's showing people that they possess the innate human authority to shape the tools of the future.
provided they are willing to communicate with clarity and intention.
So what does this all mean? When we zoom out and look at the entirety of Dr. Simmons' trajectory, we see a profound synthesis of biology, psychology, and technology.
It's all connected.
Her core message remains radically simple, echoing the exact sentiment she delivered to her oncologist all those years ago. There are no limitations in life except the ones you create for yourself.
It is a thesis completely proven by her own existence.
Yeah.
If she had accepted the default limitation placed upon her biology, the subsequent cascade of innovation simply would not exist.
There'd be no NGUM brand.
No records, no books, and definitely no 100,000 users leveraging her digital frameworks. By refusing the limitation of her medical prognosis, she built the muscle required to refuse the limitation of feeling technologically obsolete.
She flatly refused to be boxed in by any system, biological or digital.
Truly.
We have traced an astonishing arc in this deep dive. From a devastating medical chart dictating a rapid decline, to taking absolute authority over her internal narrative,
Yeah.
to eventually emerging as a thriving author, podcaster, and certified AI prompt consultant whose digital architecture has guided over 100,000 people. She didn't just survive the storm, she learned the physics of the storm and used it to generate electricity.
What's fascinating here is that Dr. Simmons ultimately redefines the concept of resilience.
How so?
Well, true resilience is rarely about simply enduring trauma and returning to the status quo.
Because the status quo was gone.
Exactly. Real resilience is the relentless pursuit of learning, growing, and adapting your internal communication to match the shifting demands of your environment.
Right.
It is about taking the darkest possible data, overwriting it with human intention, and mastering the tools of tomorrow.
Her journey proves that whether you are talking to your own cellular structure or to a trillion-parameter language model, the quality of the outcome is entirely dependent on the courage and clarity of the instruction.
Couldn't agree more.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the extraordinary source material surrounding Dr. Cynthia Simmons. But before you go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've explored the mechanics of the context window today, how an AI's output is a direct reflection of the constraints, the tone, and the intention you feed into the prompt box. If you feed the machine fear, you get paralysis.
Chaos.
Right. If you feed it precise, purposeful direction, you generate a masterpiece. So, knowing how seamlessly this applies to both human biology and artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
take a moment to evaluate your own internal dialogue. When facing your next seemingly impossible obstacle, what exactly is the prompt you are feeding your own mind? And what kind of reality is it predicting for you? Until next time, keep diving deep.